Have you ever watched someone walk away from a situation and you just knew they're never coming back? It wasn't loud, it wasn't dramatic, but it was final. That's exactly how it happens with a Sigma woman. She doesn't scream, she doesn't argue, she doesn't announce her departure. She just decides, and that's it. But what is this breaking point? What is the exact moment when a Sigma woman reaches her no-return point, the moment she walks away from a situation forever? Let's dive in. Sigma women are not your typical conforming individuals. They are the lone wolves, the independent thinkers, the ones who operate on their own terms, unbothered by societal expectations. They walk their own path, not because they seek rebellion, but because they refuse to compromise their authenticity. Unlike those who constantly seek validation from others, Sigma women are entirely self-sufficient, mentally, emotionally, and often even financially. They don't need approval to feel worthy, nor do they adjust their personalities to fit in. However, this independence often makes them stand out in a world that expects women to be accommodating, easy to access, and always willing to compromise. Society subtly, and sometimes not so subtly, pushes them to soften their edges, to be more agreeable, to engage more socially, to prioritize relationships over solitude, and to make themselves more available for the comfort of others. And for a time, some Sigma women might try. They may attempt to mold themselves into what's expected, hoping it will lead to deeper connections or a greater sense of belonging. But eventually, they come to a powerful realization: enough is enough. They see that no matter how much they bend, they will never be truly happy unless they honor their true nature. And when that moment comes, there's no going back. They stop chasing, stop proving, and stop explaining. They embrace their independence fully, without hesitation or guilt. From that moment forward, they no longer try to fit into a world that refuses to accept them as they are. Instead, they create their own space on their own terms, with zero apologies. Every Sigma woman reaches a turning point in her life, a moment where everything changes. It doesn't happen overnight, and it certainly isn't triggered by one small event. Instead, it builds up over time, shaped by countless experiences, disappointments, and realizations. This is the moment when a Sigma woman decides she will no longer invest her time, energy, or emotions into things that do not serve her. It is the moment of absolute clarity, the point of no return. A Sigma woman doesn't wake up one day and suddenly decide she's done. It's a slow process, one that is deeply personal and often happens quietly, away from the eyes of others. She observes, she analyzes, and she gives people and situations multiple chances. But deep down, she is always measuring, always evaluating. Unlike others who might hold on out of fear, she holds on only as long as she sees value. The moment she realizes that value no longer exists, she begins her silent exit. This build-up can take months, sometimes years. It often begins with small red flags, little signs that something isn't right. Perhaps she's in a relationship where she constantly has to explain herself, justify her independence, or tone down her ambitions to make someone else comfortable. Maybe she's in a job where her skills are overlooked, where she's expected to be a team player, but rarely receives the recognition she deserves. Or maybe it's society itself, constantly trying to mold her into something she's not, pressuring her to be more sociable, more agreeable, more normal. For a while, she might try to adapt. She might suppress parts of herself, thinking that compromise is necessary for connection and success. But the thing about a Sigma woman is this: she can only suppress herself for so long. She is not built to conform. She is not wired to be someone she is not. The more she tries, the more exhausted she becomes. And eventually, that exhaustion turns into realization. The no-return point isn't about anger. It isn't about revenge. It isn't about proving a point. It's about clarity. There comes a moment when a Sigma woman looks at a situation and sees it for exactly what it is, without excuses, without wishful thinking, without emotional filters. The illusions fall away. The justifications she once made for others no longer make sense. She realizes that she has been fighting a battle that isn't worth it. And in that instant, she makes a decision that will change everything. She's done. This moment can be triggered by many things. Maybe it's a conversation where someone dismisses her feelings one too many times. Maybe it's a betrayal that makes her realize she was never truly valued. Maybe it's waking up one morning and feeling a deep, unshakable exhaustion, one that tells her she cannot give any more. Whatever it is, when this moment arrives, it is irreversible. There is no dramatic goodbye, no begging for change, no heated arguments, just silence. A shift happens inside her, and once that shift occurs, there is no going back. Before we dive into the details, we wanted to take a moment to ask for your support. Did you know that about 98% of our viewers don't subscribe or like our videos? We completely understand that it's easy to forget, but your engagement means the world to us. If you enjoy our content and find it helpful, please consider subscribing to our channel. It's free and it only takes a second. You can do so by clicking the subscribe button below this video. Now, let's get started. When a Sigma woman reaches her no-return point, something inside her hardens, not in a bitter way, but in a resolute, unwavering way. The emotional attachment she once had to a situation, a job, a person, or even a societal expectation dissolves. It no longer holds power over her. She stops explaining herself. She stops seeking closure. She stops hoping things will change. It's not that she doesn't care, it's that she has accepted reality for what it is. And once she accepts reality, she redirects her energy towards something that actually serves her. If she was in a relationship that drained her, she emotionally detaches. She doesn't argue, she doesn't try to fix it, she just leaves, mentally and emotionally, before she ever physically walks away. If she was in a job that undervalued her, she stops going above and beyond. She no longer puts in extra effort. She starts planning her next move in silence. If she was conforming to societal pressures, she stops trying to fit in. She embraces her true self fully, without apologies. This is the power of the no-return point. It marks the moment a Sigma woman stops resisting who she truly is and starts living for herself. Once a Sigma woman reaches her no-return point, she doesn't look back. There is no lingering regret, no second-guessing, no revisiting old wounds. When she closes a door, it stays closed. To the outside world, this shift may seem sudden. People may wonder why she is suddenly distant, why she stopped responding, why she seems bothered by things that used to affect her. But the truth is, this decision was made long before anyone noticed. She may experience a sense of liberation, relief that she no longer has to carry the weight of something that wasn't meant for her. There may also be grief, not for the loss itself, but for the time she spent trying to make it work. But even that grief is temporary because a Sigma woman knows she cannot move forward while holding on to what is already gone. And so she rebuilds. She channels her energy into her passions, her career, her self-growth. She becomes more selective with the people she allows into her life. She surrounds herself with those who respect her autonomy, who value her depth, and who don't try to change her. She fully embraces the fact that she doesn't need to fit in. She was never meant to. The no-return point is not a sign of weakness. It is the ultimate sign of self-respect. A Sigma woman reaches this point not because she is bitter, but because she values herself too much to stay where she is not appreciated. She understands that life is too short to keep fighting losing battles. And so she walks away, not as a victim, but as a woman who knows her worth. If you are a Sigma woman who has reached this point, know that you are not alone. Your strength, your independence, and your unwavering self-respect will lead you to a life that truly aligns with who you are. And that is the greatest power of all. But how do you know when a Sigma woman has reached this point? The sudden shift. There's something almost imperceptible about the way a Sigma woman begins to detach. At first, no one sees it happening, not even the people closest to her. She still responds, she still interacts, she still carries on with her daily routines. But beneath the surface, something fundamental has changed. One day, she's trying. She's showing up, putting in the effort, engaging. She's listening attentively in conversations, making time for people, and giving her energy to situations that matter to her. If she's in a relationship, she's making an effort to understand, to communicate, to work through difficulties. If it's a job or career, she's brainstorming, problem-solving, going the extra mile to prove her worth. If it's a friendship, she's present, checking in, offering support, being the dependable and insightful person she naturally is. And then something shifts. At first it's subtle. She responds a little slower. She no longer initiates conversations as often. She no longer jumps at opportunities to explain herself or fix things. She becomes more selective with her words, speaking only when necessary. The warmth in her tone, it starts to fade. The enthusiasm in her gestures, it's not quite the same. She no longer laughs at jokes that once made her smile, nor does she react emotionally to things that would have once upset her. But here's the most important part. She's not angry. She's not fighting. She's not arguing. She's not causing drama. In fact, she's calmer than ever. That's the real sign. Her silence is not the absence of words. It's the presence of clarity. She has already decided, even if no one else realizes it yet. This is the moment when the people around her, friends, partners, co-workers, begin to notice that something feels different. They might ask, "Are you okay? Is something wrong?" And she might respond with a simple, "I'm fine." But she's not fine. She's just done. The biggest mistake people make at this stage. They assume she's just having a bad day. They think she'll come around, that if they wait long enough, she'll go back to being her usual self. But what they don't realize is that the shift has already happened. A Sigma woman doesn't pull away impulsively. She doesn't check out because of a single bad moment. She withdraws when she has reached the conclusion, consciously or subconsciously, that her energy is being wasted. Maybe she tried too many times. Maybe she gave more than she received. Maybe she realized that she was investing in something that no longer aligned with her values, goals, or emotional well-being. Whatever the case, the moment she sees that her efforts are futile, something inside her turns off. And once that happens, there's no reversing it. Some might try to pull her back in. They might suddenly put in more effort, shower her with attention, or promise change. But by the time they notice her pulling away, it's already too late. Because here's the thing about Sigma women. They don't leave emotionally before they've already left mentally. This is why when they do finally walk away, it seems so final. It's not because they're cold or heartless. It's because they've spent so much time thinking, analyzing, and weighing their decision before making it. And when they reach that point, there's no resentment, no need for revenge, no desire to explain, just quiet, unwavering detachment. And that's when you know a Sigma woman is truly gone. The lack of initiative, expanded to 1,000 words. There was a time when she cared, when she made the effort, when she was the one who kept things going, whether in friendships, relationships, or even workplace dynamics. A Sigma woman, despite her independent nature, still values meaningful connections. If she believes in something or someone, she invests. She reaches out, checks in, makes plans, keeps the energy flowing. She used to be the one sending the first message, the one asking, "How was your day?" The one following up after a long conversation with a simple, "Hope things are going well." She didn't do it because she needed validation. She did it because she genuinely cared. She saw potential in people, in relationships, in the things she was a part of. And so, she showed up. But then something changed. Maybe it happened slowly, like a gradual unraveling. Maybe it was one final disappointment that sealed the decision in her mind. Either way, at some point, she realized that the effort she was putting in wasn't being matched. That she was the one keeping the connection alive while the other person was just receiving. And that's not how a Sigma woman operates. A Sigma woman doesn't mind giving, but she will never beg for attention, effort, or appreciation. If she has to be the one constantly keeping a friendship or relationship from falling apart, she takes that as a sign that it's already broken, so she stops. No more texts, no more calls, no more checking in. At first it's subtle. Maybe she delays her responses, maybe she doesn't reach out as quickly as she used to. But eventually, silence. And that silence. It's loud. It's not the kind of silence that asks for attention. It's not a test. It's not her hoping you'll suddenly realize what she means to you. No, when a Sigma woman stops reaching out, it's because she has already started detaching. People around her might not notice right away. They might assume she's just been busy or in a mood. They might think that if they just wait long enough, she'll go back to being the person who puts in all the effort. But they'd be wrong. Because here's the thing, once a Sigma woman stops investing in a connection, she rarely revisits it. The lack of initiative isn't temporary. It isn't a phase. It's a decision. And by the time someone notices, by the time they start wondering why she hasn't texted first in weeks, why she no longer seems as engaged in conversations, why she isn't making plans anymore, it's too late. At this stage, some people might try to rekindle the connection. They might suddenly reach out more, try to pull her back in, even confront her about her distance. But here's the harsh truth. If you only care when she stops caring, then you never really cared in the first place, and a Sigma woman knows that. So she doesn't fall for last-minute efforts. She doesn't get swayed by sudden attention from people who didn't value her consistency before. She's already seen the pattern, already done the emotional math, and she's not interested in repeating the cycle. For a Sigma woman, effort is a two-way street. And the moment she realizes she's been walking alone, she stops walking altogether. And once she stops, she doesn't start again. The direct communication expanded to 1,000 words. Sigma women don't believe in mixed signals. They don't believe in manipulation, passive-aggressive behavior, or playing games. When they have something to say, they say it. And when they're done, they'll tell you. Unlike many people who avoid difficult conversations, who ghost, who slowly fade away without an explanation, a Sigma woman values directness. She's not afraid of confrontation, not because she enjoys conflict, but because she respects honesty. So when she reaches her breaking point, when she realizes she's done giving chances, done excusing behavior, done hoping things will change, she won't just disappear, she'll tell you exactly why. And when a Sigma woman speaks her truth, believe her. She won't sugarcoat it. She won't soften her words to make you feel comfortable. Not because she's cruel, but because she refuses to lie, to herself or to you. If she's lost interest, if she no longer sees the value in a relationship, if she's decided to move on, she will state it clearly, without hesitation. Some people are shocked by this. They're used to people hesitating, dancing around their feelings, leaving room for interpretation. They expect vague excuses like, "I just need some space," or "It's not you, it's me." But that's not how a Sigma woman operates. If she's lost respect for you, she'll say, "I can't respect someone who doesn't respect me." If she's lost feelings, she'll say, "I don't feel the same anymore, and I won't pretend I do." If she's done trying, she'll say, "I gave this my all, and I'm not willing to keep fighting for something that isn't working." And that's it. No emotional manipulation, no cryptic messages, no drawn-out explanations, just the truth. For some, this level of honesty is uncomfortable. They don't know how to respond. They try to argue, to negotiate, to find loopholes in her words. But the thing about a Sigma woman, she means what she says. So if she tells you she's done, she's done. At this stage, some people will try to convince her otherwise. They'll ask for another chance. They'll promise they'll change. They'll try to make her question her decision. But here's the mistake they make. A Sigma woman doesn't speak her truth until she's absolutely certain of it. She doesn't end things impulsively. She doesn't make decisions based on fleeting emotions. By the time she sits you down and tells you where she stands, she has already thought through every angle. She has already analyzed the situation, weighed her options, and considered every possible outcome. And if she has reached the conclusion that she's done, then nothing you say will change her mind. The only thing left to do is accept it. Because unlike others who might say things they don't mean in the heat of the moment, who might walk away only to return later, a Sigma woman speaks with finality. So when she says, "I'm done," she's not looking for a reaction. She's not waiting for you to beg or fight or try to convince her otherwise. She's telling you so that you know, so that there's no confusion, no room for doubt, no false hope. And after she's said what she needed to say, she moves on. No back and forth, no lingering attachment, no need for validation. And once a Sigma woman moves on, she never looks back. The emotional disconnect, 3,500 words. At first, you might not notice it happening. The change is quiet, almost too subtle to detect, until it isn't. Until one day, you realize that the woman who once felt things so deeply, who once reacted with passion, frustration, or even hurt, has stopped responding altogether. What once made her upset? Now she just shrugs. What once made her fight? Now she just lets it go. What once made her care? Now it barely even registers. She's emotionally detached, and that's how you know it's truly over. How a Sigma woman's emotional disconnect begins. Sigma women don't detach easily. If they ever invested in a person, a relationship, or a cause, it's because they genuinely saw value in it. Sigma women are highly independent, yes, but they are not cold. They are selective. But when they choose to give their energy, they give wholeheartedly. That's why their emotional disconnect doesn't happen overnight. It's not one argument. It's not one mistake. It's not a single bad moment. It happens over time, through repeated disappointments, betrayals, big or small, and the slow realization that they are giving their emotions to something that no longer serves them. Maybe she kept speaking up about something that bothered her, only to be ignored. Maybe she kept giving her best, only to feel like her efforts were taken for granted. Maybe she realized that the person she was fighting for would never fight for her in the same way. Whatever the reason, the emotional connection she once had begins to fade. She no longer feels the need to explain, to argue, to justify herself. She used to react, now she observes. She used to care, now she watches from a distance. She used to get upset, now she just feels indifferent. And here's the thing about a Sigma woman. Once she reaches the point of indifference, she's already gone. The signs of emotional detachment. When a Sigma woman has emotionally disconnected, everything about her changes. Her energy, her words, her reactions. It's like she's there, but she's not. Here's how you can tell. She no longer feels the need to defend herself. A Sigma woman knows her worth, but when she's emotionally invested in someone, she might still try to explain herself to help them understand her perspective. But when she detaches, she stops explaining. She realizes that if someone wanted to understand, they would have by now. So, she saves her breath. She stops asking for change. When she's still emotionally connected, she might express her needs, hoping for change. But if nothing changes, she eventually stops asking, not because she's fine, but because she's done. She's no longer bothered by things that used to upset her. When she was still emotionally invested, certain things might have hurt her: disrespect, neglect, dishonesty. But once she's disconnected, those same things no longer trigger a reaction. It's not that she's fine with them, it's that she has mentally and emotionally checked out. She becomes more silent. Sigma women are known for their introspective nature, but when they're still emotionally engaged, they'll speak up when necessary. Once they disconnect, however, their silence speaks louder than words. They no longer see the point in conversations that lead nowhere. She stops making an effort. This is a huge one. A Sigma woman will only put in effort where it's reciprocated. If she once tried to maintain a relationship, a friendship, or even a work dynamic but now puts in no effort, it means she's already decided it's not worth it. She no longer holds on to hope. Hope is what keeps people fighting for things. But when a Sigma woman has disconnected, she no longer hopes for change, for understanding, or for things to get better. She has accepted reality, and that's when she truly lets go. Why emotional detachment is the ultimate goodbye. Some people assume that when a woman stops reacting, she just needs time or space. But that's not how it works with a Sigma woman. If she's emotionally detached, it means she has already left the situation in her mind. There's no winning her back at this stage. There's no "let's fix this" after she's disconnected. By the time she stops feeling, she has already moved on internally. And once that happens, she's never coming back. A Sigma woman doesn't walk away feeling bitter. She doesn't waste time being angry. She doesn't dwell on the past. She doesn't plot revenge or try to make anyone feel guilty. No, when a Sigma woman walks away, she walks away free. Because for her, walking away isn't about punishment. It's about peace. The energy shift from drained to empowered. Before she makes the decision to move on, a Sigma woman might feel drained, emotionally, mentally, even physically. When she's in a situation that no longer serves her, it weighs on her. She feels stuck, exhausted, uninspired. But the moment she fully lets go, everything changes. Her energy is no longer consumed by the past. Her thoughts are no longer fixated on what went wrong. Her focus shifts from the pain of what she left behind to the excitement of what's ahead. What happens when a Sigma woman redirects her energy? She starts prioritizing herself again. When a Sigma woman is emotionally invested in something, she might sacrifice parts of herself for it. But once she moves on, she reclaims those parts. She starts focusing on her own needs, her own growth, her own happiness. She becomes more focused on her goals. A Sigma woman doesn't just walk away, she walks towards something better. She channels her energy into her passions, her dreams, her ambitions. Instead of wasting energy on people who didn't appreciate her, she reinvests it into herself. She feels lighter. Letting go of something that drained her feels like relief. She might not have realized how much a situation was weighing her down until she finally steps away from it. And once she does, it feels like she can breathe again. she stops looking back. Some people struggle to move on because they keep revisiting the past. But a Sigma woman, once she shifts her energy forward, she never looks back. She's too busy building her future to waste time on what's behind her. She radiates a different kind of energy. You can see it in her presence. She moves differently. She carries herself with a quiet confidence, an inner peace. She no longer feels the need to explain herself, to prove anything, or to seek validation. She just is. The true power of a Sigma woman's energy shift. The most powerful thing about a Sigma woman's energy shift is this. She doesn't just leave situations, she outgrows them. When she walks away, it's not because she's running from something, it's because she's rising above it. She steps into a new chapter, one where she is fully in control of her own happiness, her own path, her own destiny. And once she reaches this stage, there's no going back. She's free, she's thriving, she's unstoppable. And that's the true essence of a Sigma woman. There comes a point where chasing, explaining, and trying to fix things no longer matters. A Sigma woman's no-return point is exactly that. Final. She doesn't leave because she wants attention or because she hopes someone will chase her. When she walks away, it's because she has already mentally, emotionally, and spiritually detached. And once that happens, there are only 3 things left to do. Respect her boundaries. Don't chase her. Don't try to convince her. Just let her go. Reflect on your approach. If you've lost a Sigma woman's trust, ask yourself, why? What pushed her away? Seek closure, if appropriate. If there's an opportunity for a final conversation, be honest, be respectful, but don't expect to change her mind. These steps aren't about getting her back. They're about moving forward, just like she has. If you've lost a Sigma woman's trust, the next step is self-reflection. Not for her, but for yourself. Sigma women don't walk away easily. If she distanced herself from you, it's because something consistently pushed her away. Questions to ask yourself. Did I respect her independence? Sigma women need space to be themselves. Did you allow her that freedom, or did you try to control her? Did I make her feel valued? Sigma women don't need constant praise, but they do need to feel respected and appreciated. Did she feel like her efforts mattered? Did I ignore red flags she pointed out? If she ever told you what was bothering her and you dismissed it, that was the beginning of the end. Did you listen? Seek closure. If appropriate, some endings come with a final conversation. Others don't. And with Sigma women, there are no guarantees. If she chooses to give you closure, it's because she respects you enough to have that last conversation. But if she doesn't, that is also an answer. When a final conversation is possible. A Sigma woman might be open to one last conversation if she believes there's something worth clarifying. She feels closure would help both of you move forward. But what if she doesn't respond? What if she walks away without explaining? That is still closure. Sigma women do not owe explanations for their peace. If she left without a word, it's because she felt that talking wouldn't change anything. And in that case, the only thing left to do is accept it and move on. Losing a Sigma woman is final, but it's also a chance to grow. She didn't leave to hurt you. She didn't leave to make a statement. She left because she values herself enough to walk away from what no longer serves her. And now, it's time for you to do the same. Move forward, respect her choice, take the lessons you've learned, and most importantly, never make the same mistakes again. A Sigma woman doesn't walk away because she's weak. She walks away because she knows her worth. And when she reaches her no-return point, it's not just an ending, it's a beginning. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever reached this no-return point? What was the final moment that made you walk away? Drop your story in the comments below. I know you're not alone in this. And if you want to dive even deeper into the Sigma mindset, check out this next video. It's something you don't want to miss.